your girl, Big Tish, right? The Attorney General out of the great state of New York. We haven't tapped in on her for a little while, man. She's kind of been, out of my purview. Let me say that, But she's been, a lot's been unfolding as it relates to Big Tish, man. We call her Big Tish for a reason, because she talked that big talk, But can she back up the talk that she's talking? I don't know. It's not looking like it. She's looking like the type to throw the rock and hide a hand, to dig in the cookie jar and hopefully not get caught, but she's getting caught with a hand in the cookie jar. It's looking bad, man. It's looking horrible for her, But we're gonna touch on some things, ask a couple of questions. Let's see how it goes, Will things pan out a certain way for certain people? Will it pan out, in a positive way for Big Tish? I don't know. The evidence is heavy. On one hand, the evidence is heavy. On the other hand, she's in a friendly state for her, right? She's in a friendly state with a friendly judge. They said justice is blind. I don't know about that one. She seems to have 20/20 vision to me. But, we'll tap in on that, man. But she's been, if you don't know, she's been under a rock. All right. She's been criminally indicted. Man. The chickens have come home to roost, huh? The chickens have come home to roost. Man. Criminally indicted. What charges? Bank fraud, making false statements to a financial institution, right? For residential properties, not commercial, but residential properties. Those are primary pertinent details, man. Don't get lost or overlook the details. All those details matter, right? And according to the information, right, she's been making these false statements via these mortgage applications since the year 1989, the year of our Lord, 1989. Good Lord. Since I was 8 years old, she's been making these things. to put it in perspective, since I was 8 and I'm 44 now. Good Lord. Talk about a pattern. That's a pattern for you. Right. So now we know the case that the most famous case that she was building up to boost her profile on, right? The case against the Trump organization, Donald Trump at the time when he's running for presidency. Of course, he's won since then. Doing a great job, I might say. But she brought charges on him, right? She brought charges on overly inflating the value of his properties. That's important of a detail, right? Is overly inflating the value of your property the same as making false statements, right? On a banking statement for residential property? Are they the same? I mean, if you're a layman, you don't think they're the same thing. You're gonna think, a over exaggeration is the same as false information. Those two are not the same. And because they're both in real estate, you're thinking that they're the same thing. They're not. The details is key, man. All details matter. So richism, take it with you. All details matter, man. All right. So the last time I checked, it's not a crime to say that I value this hat at a certain price point. It's not illegal to do that. It's up to you to say, you know what, I agree with you, and I'm going to buy the hat at that price point. Or you might try to negotiate the price down, That's how we negotiated. We go back and forth until we had a price in the middle that's beneficial to both parties. I go high, you go low. You know the story, right? But is that the same as making a statement to get a mortgage, more than likely via Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac? If you know that those are government federal institutions. Those are federal institutions, right? So if you're making false statements, like for instance, I live in Virginia, right? This is my primary residence, but I actually live in New York, or I have a 5 unit, but I'm saying it's 4, right? Why? Maybe because I'll have to pay more money, a down payment, if it's a 5 unit, which means it's commercial, right? Versus if it's a 4 unit, that means it's residential. And if it's residential, the stipulations are a bit more in my favor if it's residential, you feel me? So if it's residential, that means the details of the actual deal is going to be structured differently, you feel me? And if it's structured differently, that means I'm going to be actually paying less money, paying less, a less of a down payment for a 4 unit or below, right? Which means I won't have to come out of pocket with more money. But if it's commercial, the stipulations are different. You got to come out of pocket with more because it's commercial. Obviously, if it's commercial, that means it's an investment property. You feel me? So it would behoove her to say, yeah, you know what? This is actually a 4 unit. I know in the past it's been consistent. Since the inception of this actual building, it's been stated that it's a 5 unit. I know that. Never mind that. Right? Never mind that. We all say it's 4 on the application. You know why? Because I don't have to pay as much money if it's 4. Right? Nonetheless, that's neither here nor there. Right? But the point is making a false statement the same as saying I value this at this price point? And if you're willing to agree with me for a loan, not for a mortgage, loan and mortgage ain't the same thing. They got different stipulations for a loan versus a mortgage. You feel me? And the loan was more for commercial properties, not for residential properties. You might think it's small, minute details. They're not. They're actually very important, pertinent details. Right? The question is, though, are they the same? Now, here's the rub, though. Here's the rub. If as Attorney General, you want to say, hey, listen, that thing that he's doing, I'm going to say it's wrong. And if it's wrong, I'm going to actually put charges on him and hopefully put him in prison for what I believe and for what I'm saying is wrong. Right? You feel me? If you're going to hold somebody else by a certain standard, that means you're actually holding yourself to the same standard. Boom. That's where the rub comes in, right? Now, if she's just a random person who just has a certain standard that she personally lives by, that's different. That's a different situation, right? But if she's the lead attorney, the top cop in the state of New York, and you're holding somebody to a certain standard that you're setting, right? That means that you have to be held by the same standard, man. Right? You become a law unto yourself, as the good book says. Huh? Now, that's to one side. The other side, the same Attorney General that has property over in a different state, 5 hours away, that says that property is my primary property, she's never actually been in that property since the signing of the actual mortgage for that property. That's number one. Number two, she's also had another family member. I believe it's her niece. I believe who's in the property with her family, with the family of the niece, and the niece is a fugitive. She's an absconder from the law, man. So the top cop is essentially harboring a fugitive in her domicile. Go figure. Man, you can't make this up, man. You can't. On your best day, you couldn't write this story. You couldn't make this up on your best day, right? So now, let's see what's going to happen, all right? There's a lot going on, a whole lot going on, and it seems as if the person that's been working to hold certain individuals to certain standards and others to not to the same standard is actually under the gun now. Now let's see what's going to happen. Right? She's working to get the case tossed out. Right? All right. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. She's making a good argument. Like for her benefit. I'm not saying the argument means that the case is null and void. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that the argument she's making on her behalf to get the case tossed out, it's not bad. It's not bad. I'm not going to hold you. All right. But hopefully the judge is honorable. Hopefully he's honorable, and he will want to have her be held to the same standard that she wants to hold other people to. But I don't know. The judge is part of a certain group of people that you can't vilify, can't talk down on. We'll see how that works out, man. We'll see. I don't know. She has the judge more than likely on her side, and the prosecutor has the federal government on her side. So we'll see how it works out, or how it pans out, right?